There is a new style of content that has been blown up recently on YouTube, and it makes it incredibly easy to create content. And a lot of the educational creators have been using this style of content, and in this video I'm going to show you exactly what it is and how to use it. So if you've been struggling to make YouTube videos because it takes up too much time, or you're worried that it won't bring clients into your business, then this is the exact kind of content that you want to start making. Now, you might have seen people like Jordan Welsh, and he started a second channel recently making this exact kind of content where he takes a screen recording and he goes through some information on his laptop, and then in the corner he just has himself talking to the camera. Or we could see somebody like Iman Gadzi. He also started a second channel recently where he does this exact same style of content. It is him talking to camera, and then he has some slides on the side of the screen where he's just going through some sort of business strategy, some sort of educational content. Now, more people are doing this. Charlie Morgan started a business channel recently as well, making this exact style of content. And it is just him sitting in his room, speaking to camera, having a screen recording, and again, with him in the corner of the video. Now, Alex Hormozi does a very similar type of video to this, where he has a main camera where he's speaking to a camera in front of him, and then he has a top-down view where he is drawing things on a piece of paper, and it is filmed from above. It's the same kind of content, and it's the same kind of style. Simon Squibb has also been doing this same Simon Squibber's also been doing this same kind of content. Him sitting, talking to camera in a room, and then he has a top-down view of a whiteboard where he goes through some concepts and explain things. And you might think, sure, this kind of content can't be getting many views. But then you go and you actually see how many views he's pulling in, and on that video alone, Simon Squibb got 11 million views on just a pure educational video where he was just sitting there talking to the camera like this and explaining some concepts on a whiteboard. Now, there is another YouTuber that I've been looking at recently called Nick. I'm sorry, Nick, I have no idea how to pronounce that surname. And he's been doing these same kind of videos. Now, he's somebody who is not famous. He doesn't have a big brand like all the other people do, and this content is still working for him as well. You know, he's still getting 18,000 views, 14,000 views, and this strategy allows you to print content very, very quickly. You can make a video in half an hour and get it ready and uploaded very fast. There's very minimal editing. It's just pure sitting here to the camera, giving content, giving value and explaining something. So this style of content can be summarized as talking head content with something on the screen. It is very simple and it is very easy to make. However, a lot of people make big mistakes. They get the setup wrong and it just looks crap and grainy and horrible. They might be filming on a webcam and it just looks a bit rubbish. They use the wrong microphone. They get the light set up wrong. So I'm going to break down everything in this video. I want to show you how to make a setup like this without having to spend crazy amounts of money. I want to show you how to make everything look professional and high quality, but also I want to show you how to make it effortless to record so that you can just work and talk through these concepts and you don't need to spend ages editing. You can spend 30 minutes recording a video, 5 minutes on the post-production, and then it's ready to go, uploaded onto YouTube. Because I don't want to be spending hours every single week editing videos or scripting things, and this style of content will save you so much time. So the first thing that we want to be talking about is actually looking at the problem of it. Now, Google actually did a study a while ago called the 7-11-4 rule, and they realized that for somebody to become a client, they need to spend 7 hours of watching your content across 11 different touch points on 4 different platforms. So if we want people to watch a lot of our content, if we want people to get to that 7 hours, we need to put a lot of content out. And if it's taking us weeks and weeks to make every single video, it's going to take a long time for somebody to reach that 7 hours. So this strategy will allow you to speed up your production process, allow you to get videos out a lot faster. So The second one is that content takes way too long to record, and this setup, everything I'm going to be showing you in this video, allows you to speed that process up so much. And there's a quote here that I like by Eric Ries, which is "Speed trumps perfection." That if we get things out quickly, that is going to work out a lot better in the long run than it would be to spend ages trying to make that perfect video. So there's an analogy in a book. I don't know if it's a true story or not. And there was a pottery teacher, and she put her class into two different groups. One group, she said to them, "I want you to make the perfect pot. You've got the whole semester. I just want you to make the best pot possible." Then to the other group, they said, "I want you to make as many pots as possible, and you'll be graded just on making the most number of pots." Whereas the quality group, they would be graded on making the best pot. So it was literally just a quality versus quantity approach. So over the months, the students got busy making all their pots. But then at the end, something surprising happened. See, the group that spent all that time trying to make this one perfect pot, the pots were average at best. But the group that spent their time making as many pots as possible, even though they weren't graded on the quality, their pots were actually better. They learned by making these pots, and they kept, by repeating that process, they got better and better and better at that craft. And it's the same thing for YouTube videos. If we can get more videos out, if we can actually repeat the process and practice each week, we're going to be getting a lot better at it, and we'll be able to land more clients as a result. So now we want to be looking at the lighting. This room here that I'm sitting in, if I turn off all my fancy lights and I just use the normal household lights, that's what it looks like. It looks like crap. And a few years ago, I was at a networking event, and this guy came in and he started talking about all these famous actors that he'd worked with. And at first you'd think, amazing, like he's worked with some of these really incredible big names. But then you looked at what he was wearing, and he had on this dirty pair of jeans and a pair of like old scruffy shoes with holes in them. And he was standing there talking about how he'd worked on movies with all these famous stars like Cameron Diaz and stuff. And you just took one look at him and it was like, dude, like you look like you've just walked out of the nearest homeless shelter. Like, I do not believe for a second that he's worked on these big productions. And maybe he had worked on them, but there was no trust there. You just looked at him and you were like, no, I don't believe you at all. Now, it's the same thing for YouTube. You want to put your best impression out. If you have a nice setup like this, high quality, a good microphone, good lights, it will inspire confidence in the people that are watching that video. So I want to go break down how to set all of this lighting up. The first thing is that I have one big light which lights me. It's just this big light above the camera, and that gets all this nice light onto me, and this is what it would look like. I then add a second light which adds some brightness into the room around me so it's not quite as dark. And then finally I put on some lights behind me which just give it a little bit more depth, a little bit more colour. Now I want to show you exactly what that looks like step by step. So here we have a top-down view looking at the setup. We have the desk, we have me sitting in front of it, so desk, me. And then we have the computer monitor there, and then the first light is up here. And this light just points directly towards me like that. Then I have a second light over here, which points up at the ceiling. It actually bounces light off the ceiling, which then just gives the room a little bit more brightness overall. And finally, we have three little lights down at the bottom here, which just give it that little bit of depth, a little bit of colour in the background. You can just see them behind me. We have the one over here, one just on my shoulder here, and there's another one down beneath the curtain down there. Now, the final thing will just be the camera, which is here, and that's just pointed over directly towards me. It's a very simple setup. The main thing is getting the right lights, because If you try and just use general household lights, they're going to look like crap. You won't be able to get the nice light on my face. You won't be able to get nice looking images. So you need to make sure that you actually get the right lights. So let me show you exactly what I have bought. My personal light that I use is called a Godox SL60W, and then you will also need something called a softbox, which is like this big dome-shaped thing on the front of the light, and then you'll need a light stand as well. You can buy these kits on Amazon where everything comes included, so that's about £200, which is what, $240, something like that. So I would recommend buying a setup like that, all put together, all complete, ready to go. Then, if you are trying to build your business with YouTube, then I do have a free email course down below in the video description, and it's 30 ways in 30 days to build your business using YouTube. So, now, the next thing you need is a decent camera. This is the one that I use, which is a Sony a6400 with a Sigma 18 to 50mm lens. So together, those two are probably about £1,200. You could buy them cheaper secondhand. You could buy a similar camera. This is personally just what I use, and it is more than enough. If you want a cheaper option, you can go for the Sony ZV-1, which is about $630, including the lens. There is a price point that you'll not want to really drop below. You can get this one used for about half that price. I bought one recently for like £330, like what, $400 US, something like that. And again, that quality is going to be more than enough for YouTube. Next, you'll need a cheap tripod. I would just buy one on Amazon that gets good reviews. This isn't a specific one. Just buy anything that gets a lot of decent reviews on Amazon, and it'll be more than good enough for recording into your computer for YouTube. The final thing we want to be looking at is a capture card. So there's a few ways to record. Like with every camera, you can put a memory card into the camera and record straight into the camera. And it's great, you get the best quality possible. But it means that you have to take that camera, you have to take that card out of the camera and you have to plug it into your computer. Plus, it means that you also have to do more editing later on, because I'm going to show you a very simple, streamlined way of minimizing all your editing. So you don't have to spend ages going through and chopping up all the clips. So you'll need something called a capture card. This is the one I use. It's about £90, 120 US. And then you'll need a HDMI cable to plug that into your computer. Depending on what camera you use, this is the one I need for my camera, but your mileage might vary depending on what camera you get. Now, for a microphone, I use the Logitech Blue Yeti, which is this beautiful microphone down here. I find that it's good enough for me at the minute. And then also I have a dummy power battery kit, which basically allows you to plug the camera directly into the mains so you don't run on batteries. So there's no worrying about it turning off halfway through. You don't have to remember to charge batteries. It's just all streamlined and ready to go. Because the whole point of being able to get YouTube videos out quickly is making everything as easy as possible, making it as easy as possible to sit down and record without having to waste loads of time making sure you've got your memory cards charged, making sure you've got your memory cards formatted and your batteries charged and everything ready to go. We just make it easy to make content. Next, we want to be looking down at I've got something that's a simple drawing tablet, and this just allows me to do little sketches on the screen. So if I want to write something out, I can use a little pen and I can actually draw that onto my tablet. So that's what this looks like, but it also has these buttons down here which allows me to change what I am doing. So you'll notice that every now and then I'm just changing between this view over here and this view, and I can do that right here on my tablet just by pressing the buttons, because I have set that up to do that in some special software. Now, traditionally what a lot of people will do is they will take the file from their camera that looks like this. They'll also record their screen separately, so they'll have these two video files. and then they'll go through and they'll edit them together. They'll be cutting between these two different files, and it looks great, it works, but it takes time. So if you want to make videos like this as quickly as possible, you need a setup like this that allows you to just press a button and then swap between one view and the other view. We want to make it as easy as possible. So we've been through the lighting layout over there. Now, the next thing that I want to be showing you is OBS, and this is a free software that I actually use to record everything that I am doing. It allows you to record all of these camera angles, and it allows you to cut between these two different views seamlessly. So when you're inside OBS, what you want to do is go to File, Settings, and then change the output to indistinguishable quality, large file size. That just gives you the best possible recording quality inside OBS. And then you will add some sources down here. So we click the plus icon, you'd add an audio input for your microphone, a video capture device to get the image from your camera, and then also add a window capture, which allows you to record a screen on your computer. Then what I do personally is I set up two different scenes. So I have one here that has my microphone, my video, and my display capture. And then I have a second one, which is set up just for my main camera. So that doesn't have the screen recording in there as well. And that allows me to quickly and easily swap between those two different scenes. So if I want to go from that to that, I can just do that at the click of a button. Now, you'll also want to set up some hotkeys. So we go up to File, Settings, and then we go down to Hotkeys, and we can just set up a little hotkey here, which allows you to swap between those two different views. So that's the way I've set up OBS, and I find it very quick and very easy to use. Next, we want to be talking about FigJam, which is this software here where we're drawing, where we're using it to show all of these screenshots and these annotations. This is free software. You can just go download it. I'm not going to show you how to use it because it is incredibly easy. So the final thing we need to talk about is editing. Now, like I said, people make mistakes. If you're recording a 25-30 minute video, you're going to make some mistakes in places, and you would need to edit those. However, with this setup, I'm going to give you a very, very quick method for fixing that. So every time you make a mistake, just stop and pause. And don't say anything for 5-10 seconds. Collect your thoughts back, figure out what you want to say, and then get back into it. And what happens is you then have your video file. So I'm going to show you exactly how you would edit this super, super, super quick. And I use something called Sony Vegas. It's very old software that I use of it. You could go and get something like CapCut or DaVinci Resolve for free. However, I just use Sony Vegas because I've been very good at it. And you can see here, in this video, I go through and I can see where these little breaks are in the waveform here, where there is no audio, there's nothing being spoken. And that's because I made a mistake there. So all I'd need to do is just listen back to that small section, trim out the mistakes, and then take that video, render the whole thing, and upload it to YouTube. I don't need to listen to the whole video. I don't need to go through all of this because I know it's fine. And sure, like, I probably made some little mistakes there. I probably stumbled over some words. I probably said some things that aren't quite perfect, but I'm only human after all. And the thing is, as long as the video is valuable for people, it won't matter if there's a few mistakes here and there. People aren't going to hate you for it. So if you don't want to edit this yourself, you could go and get somebody on Fiverr to do it for pretty cheap. If you tell them this is exactly what you need doing, you could probably get something like this edited for like $30 maybe. I've had videos edited around that price point before. So it's a very simple job, this. The right editor will fix this up in 5 minutes. It is a very, very quick job, and it's very, very easy to do. So finally, if you want to learn how an entrepreneur built her YouTube channel in about 6 months and made $230,000 from it, then I'd recommend that you watch this video next.